Hello guys, this is Mohsin Azam interacting with you from my YouTube channel Business Innovation. Today we are going to start our new course which is Planning Engineer and Primavera P6. So the first lesson or the topic which we will discuss in today's discussion will be introduction. In introduction, first of all, we will discuss what is planning. Construction planning involves identifying all the required steps to build a structure, splitting them into defined activity, ordering these steps logically, and determining the necessary material, manpower, and equipment. So, planning is basically to identify the steps which is required to complete a structure, what will be the activities to build a structure or any project, what will be the logic between these activities, and what are the necessary manpower and equipment required to complete the project. This is actually planning. The next is planning engineer. Planning engineer will determine and develop the most suitable and economically viable construction and engineering method for the project. They are involved throughout the development stages and are present on the site during the build to oversee the procedure. So what is actually the planning engineer? Planning engineer will determine the most valuable construction methodology to complete the project, to successfully complete the project, the procedure should be much economical and much reliable, so that the project is completed within a specific time which is defined, which is allocated for the project. The planning engineer will involve from in all the developmental stages of the project, which is from the project initiation to the handing over of the project. Okay, next is Primavera. Primavera P6 is an Oracle software product designed for project, program, and portfolio management. It is powerful and easy to use solution for planning, managing, executing projects and program. So Primavera is basically a software designed for the project, program, and portfolio management. So to manage a project or the group of project which is called as program or portfolio, to manage or to plan all these the project, programs, and portfolio, we will use Primavera P6. So first of all, we will discuss project here. What is project actually? Project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique service or result. Project is basically defined as it is a temporary endeavor. Temporary endeavor means temporary, as it's written here, that the project should have defined beginning and end, and endeavor is written here as an attempt. So project is actually an action which have a defined beginning and end, and the result of this action should be a service or result, or any unique service will be the result of the project. The next is program. A program is a group of projects that are similarly are related to one another and which are often managed and coordinated as a group instead of independently. So the group of similar project is called as program, and it's written here it will be coordinated as a group instead of independently. Portfolio is actually the combination of project and program, but in case of portfolio, the project is no need to be similar. So different programs and project together will create an portfolio, but this will be within an organization. So all the project and programs within organization will be called as a portfolio. We have project management. Now, what is actually project management? We discuss planning and planning engineer, then Primavera. Now we will discuss project management. Project management is the use of specific knowledge, skills, tools and technique to deliver something of value to the people. So project management is basically the skills and tools and technique to deliver some valuable things to the people of a society. The development of software for improvement of business process, and to develop any software is actually a project management. The construction of a building, the relief effort after a natural disaster, the expansion of sales into a new geographical market. Phases of project management. The project management process generally include 5 phases: conception and initiation, the second is planning, the third one is execution, the fourth one is performance and monitoring, the fifth one is project closeout or handing over. Now next we will discuss here tender. Tender is an invitation to the bid for a project or accept a formal offer such as taking over bid. So what is tender? Tender is basically the invitation for a project. Tender is usually referred to the process where government and financial institutes invite bids, call to contractor to submit a proposal on a project for a specific product or service. So tender is actually calling contractors for a specific project or product. For a large project, this must be submitted within a defined deadline. So for the project which is in large scale, there will be a finite time in which we have to submit our proposal for the project. It consists the tender price for which the project is awarded to the contractor. Means the tender should be consist of the final quotation in which we are going to perform the project. In general, the tender document consists of following: the tender document which we will get from the client for the review and to submit the quotation. The first volume will be condition of contract, the second volume will be specification, and the third volume will be bill of quantity and then tender drawings. Content of tender. The project brief description. First of all, in the tender there will be the brief description of the project, then instruction to the tenderers. Then in the second part there will be some instruction to the tenderers like visit site and examine documents. The party which are going to participate in the bid or the tender should have to visit the site. Pricing of the item, they should have to quote the prices and fixed price. It will be written there clearly that the quotation which we will submit for the tender, the price in the quotation will be considered as final, and the expense of tender, all the expenses which we will do for bidding or for the submitting the proposal for the tender will be managed by the contractor itself. Document confidential. All the documents which we will get from the authorities will be confidential. Currency, it will be clearly written there that the currency, which currency we will use and which language we have to use. Document to submit. In return, the parties which are involved in the tender, they should have to submit the proof of site inspection, project work plan. All the parties will submit the plan, how they will execute the project, and if there is any detour required or any diversion required, they should have to submit the plan. Program, they should have to submit the program, that how they will execute the project. Organization chart, what will be the organization or what will be the hierarchy of the project personnel involved from the contractor side in the project. And the proposed manpower and equipment, these are actually the manpower and equipment which will involve in the site. list of complete project. List of complete project means what are the project completed by the contractor. List of subcontractor and suppliers, and list of source of material. So these are the documents should be submitted at the time of submitting the tender or proposal to the authority or the client. Tender bond, then acceptance. Here, for in the case of acceptance, it's written that employer is not bound to accept the lowest bid. Authority can accept any participant from the list of the bidders. It's not required that they will choose the lowest one. Return of tender bond, that how they will return the tender bond. Address of the contractor should be submitted there. Site location, the contractor should be fully aware of the site location and condition of contract. They should have to read clearly the condition of contract. Performance security, the contractor should have to submit the performance security and contract insurance. After instruction to tender, we have condition of contract, general and particular. In condition of contract, there are two types of conditions. One is general condition of contract, which will be the general for all the project under a specific authority, and particular will be specifically for the project. Then letter of tender, and then form of agreement. Form of agreement will be between the, this will be actually a form. This is actually a form which the both party, employer and contractor, should sign after awarding the contract to the contractor. Form of tender bond. These are actually the samples which the contractor should have to submit. Form of performance bond and form of advance payment bond, and list of drawings. The next is appendix to tender. Appendix to tender consists of following. It consists of employee name and address, contractor name and address, engineer name and address, time of completion of work. So in the appendix to tender, it will be clearly written that how much time it will require to complete the work. Defect notice period, this is the liability period, which after completing a project, how much will be the notice period or liability period after the completion of work, which is usually 1 year. Define milestone, what will be the milestone in the project. Time for access to site, so access to site will be clearly written that when the site will be available for the contractor. Amount of performance security, how much performance security contractor have to submit. This performance security will submit as a bond. Working hours, how much working hours contractor have to work on daily basis. Delay and penalties, if the contractor delay complete project or part of project, how much will be the penalties. Total advance payment, how much will be the advance payment. Retention amount, how much the client will retain after completion of the project. This is actually for the liability, defect liability period. They will endure this remaining portion, which is usually 10%, this final settlement to the contractor after defect liability period. And then advance payment. Advance payment is actually the client will give advance payment to the contractor before or when they award the project to the contractor. They will give usually 10% of the project value to the contractor for the material and for all the setups. The second one is LOA. LOA is letter of acceptance. This is the formal letter from the client responding to your tender. So after submitting the tender, if both the parties agreed with some final quotation, the client will give us a letter of acceptance. It consists of tender price for which the product is awarded to the contractor, the duration of the project, the commencement date of the project, and the client representative. The third one is BOQ. BOQ consists of the following: description of the item. In the BOQ, BOQ is actually bill of quantities. It consists of all the items in the project with the detailed description of the items and the reference of CSM M4. CSM is actually Civil Engineering Standard Method of Measurement. This is actually a book which have some standards, and in all the BOQ this CSM reference should be there. Unit of measurement, quantities of measurement. Sorry, here we have only quantities. Instead of quantities we have here only quantities. So how much quantity for each item will be there in the scope of work, and then rate of each item. So this is the sample. We have description first of all in BOQ, then we will have CSM reference, then unit of measurement, and then quantities, and after this rates. A drawing. After kickoff meeting, the engineer will issue IFC drawing, which consists of following. So when the kickoff meeting is done, the engineer should have to issue IFC drawing, which is issue for construction, which consists of layout of all the services. If it is infrastructure, in this case we will discuss here infrastructure projects. So the contractor should have to, the engineer should have to submit handover layout of all the services, profile of the services to know the levels, and typical are standard drawings. These are actually the details. For example, if we have any chamber there, these are the standard details which we will follow. Service reservation is actually the distribution or the corridors of the services. Existing condition, so existing ground condition, the engineer should have to hand over to the contractor. These drawings are required from engineer or program. So for a programmer, these drawings are necessary to start the program. After this, NOCs. NOC is no objection certificate. These are the certificate which the client will issue to start the work. Without NOC we cannot commence or start the work on the site. So first of all we will get design NOC from the engineer. This is actually a design, approval of design by the engineer from the authority. Once the design is get approved, they will issue an NOC. The authority will issue an NOC to the engineer, and this NOC should be handed over to the contractor at the time of award. Information NOC. This NOC the contractor will submit to get any information, existing condition from the authorities. So after submitting the information NOC, the authority will issue all the existing conditions, and after this we will proceed with the trial trench NOC. In the trial trench NOC, first of all we will propose the trial trenches based on the existing condition, and after approval of the trial trench NOC we will proceed with the trial trench execution, and after execution verification will be there from the authorities, and based on the trial trench verification and the shop drawing which we will submit. After getting all these drawings, we will prepare the shop drawings, and then we will submit the trial trench verification with the shop drawing for the construction NOC. So after construction NOC, after getting the approval of the construction NOC, the contractor can start the work on the site. These are the NOC required from the authorities. Further, if any special NOC is required, like for the NDRC or HDD, special NOC will be required. So for the NDRC, for example, if we have to do any NDRC which is non-destructive road crossing, for this first of all we have to do the boreholes. So for borehole we need the borehole NOC, and after getting the borehole NOC we have to do the verification, and after this we will submit construction NOC, and after getting the construction NOC we will proceed with the NDRCs. So these are the special requirements which we have to complete. QA/QC. From the QA/QC department, the contractor should have to take the approval for the listed documents. So from the QA/QC department, once the project is awarded, they should have to submit the method of statement. So method of statement is actually the contractor will have to explain that how the contractor will execute a part of work. So they have to submit a method of statement, and after submission and a review from the engineer, they will give us the approval. And then we have to submit the material which we have to use in the project, and after getting the and after submission and review of the engineer and followed by the authorities, they will give us the approval for the materials. Procurement. After taking approval of the material, the contractor should have to proceed with the procurement. The material can be categorized. The material can be categorized as long lead items and short lead items. There will be two types of items. One short lead item which are readily available in the market and which we can get within a month, and long lead items, these are the items for which we required minimum three months. Number 8, mobilization. Mobilization is basically the establishment of site offices and establishment of engineer facilities. So this we have to establish after getting the project. Contract deliverables. Contract deliverables are basically the preparation, submission and approval of startup program. These are the programs which actually authorities are asking to start the work on the site. It will be maximum 3 months. After this, we have to take the we have to prepare, submit and approval of the DM survey benchmark. And after this, preparation, submission and approval of performance securities, advance payment, quality management plan, environmental management plan, health and safety management plan, detailed program of work. This we have to submit within 28 days of kick-up meeting. And workman compensation insurance, contract insurance, third party insurance, insurance of the work, and traffic management plan and traffic diversion plan. These are some deliverables which we have to submit, which we have to prepare, which the contractor should have to prepare, submit and take an approval from the authorities. Thanks for watching. The next topic which we will discuss will be condition of contract. Thanks for watching.